In mid-2021, Keke Palmer crossed paths with Darius Jackson, a former football player turned model. Sparks flew, and by August, the couple had made their relationship Instagram official. Things seemed to be going smoothly, so smoothly, in fact, that they soon welcomed a child together. But the calm wouldn't last. Fast forward to July 4th, 2023. Keke attended Usher's Las Vegas residency, turning heads in a bold outfit as she danced, sang, and exuded charm. Darius, caught up in the moment, posted a tweet that immediately went viral. "It's the outfit though. You a mom. Woo." The internet erupted. People reminded him, and maybe themselves, that Keke Palmer is an independent, self-sufficient woman who earns her own living and lives life on her terms. Looking closer, it's easy to see why Darius might have been blindsided by her independence. Keke had already built a career from a young age, earning fame as a child star on Nickelodeon and supporting her family for years. Meanwhile, Darius, in comparison, seemed to have little to offer beyond admiration and applause. That realization, the understanding that Keke could navigate life on her own, exposed attention. He wanted the role of a traditional man without fully embracing its responsibilities, seeking security without providing support. This imbalance, this power struggle, became a recurring theme in their relationship. At one point, tensions escalated visibly. While I can't display the video here, it shows Darius physically pulling Keke in moments of conflict. Naturally, this led to her mother stepping in, trying to intervene and protect her daughter. I've been in this business for over 2 decades, 22 years, to be exact, and I've seen just about everything. But this situation? It's something else. Keke Palmer's mother has publicly criticized Darius Jackson and his brother, Sarunis, for abusive behavior. She even shared that over a year ago, she warned Sarunis that his brother was abusive toward her daughter. His response? "I used to be like that too." Now, she's calling out Darius and his brother on social media, portraying them as if they're uniquely toxic. But context matters. The tweets she's referencing weren't about Keke or Darius. They were directed at his baby mama, Dominique Perry. Still, her statements paint Darius in an extremely negative light, particularly because there's footage showing him pulling Keke across a couch during a confrontation. However, the full picture is more complicated. Keke herself has admitted, in the heat of conflict, to having put her hands on Darius. That doesn't excuse abuse, but it does illustrate that the situation was not entirely one-sided. While the video captured a shocking moment of him dragging her, we don't know what escalated it or who made the first move. Fast forward, even after Keke filed a restraining order and sought sole custody of their child due to the severity of the abuse, there were moments later that suggested a fragile reconciliation. She was seen taking family-style photos with Darius, and he even appeared by her side at her 31st birthday party. This shocked many fans. How could someone return to a person who had been so harmful? They argued. Supporting survivors is complex. Relationships are rarely black and white, and what looks like reconciliation from the outside may be driven by a mix of emotional, familial, and practical factors. Keke's journey highlights just how messy and painful these situations can be, even for someone as strong and independent as she is. As people started tuning into Keke Palmer on podcasts, a clearer picture of her mindset began to emerge. Many women often speak about the kind of man they want, the level of success, wealth, or status required. But Keke's perspective was refreshingly different. She didn't need a man with a fat bank account to validate her life. She was clear love wasn't about money. It was about partnership, respect, and connection. That perspective can be hard for people to grasp. Society doesn't often celebrate a woman finding love under unconventional circumstances. No one cares when a man finds his partner, no matter the situation. But when it's a woman like Keke, suddenly everyone has an opinion. Yet, her father's advice had always been simple and timeless. A man should treat you right and show up for you, not just financially, but emotionally and practically. Money? That's not what she needed. Keke Palmer's independence runs deep. Like Megan Good, she had been supporting her family since she was a teenager, shouldering responsibility and earning more than anyone around her. Becoming a traditional housewife or submitting to someone else's household dynamic was never in her blueprint. She had built her life, her career, and her family's security on her own terms. So when Darius Jackson entered her world, the adjustment was never going to be simple. Her family and career were all interwoven into her daily life, her mom managing aspects of her career, her father involved in guidance. So moving into someone else's world, where she wasn't the primary provider, wasn't natural for her. Things took a turn during the Thanksgiving holidays, a time usually reserved for family and togetherness. Darius, however, wasn't spending that time with Kiki. Instead, he was with someone else, a beautiful woman he proposed to during the holiday season. She shared photos of her ring, and Darius publicly celebrated their union, demonstrating a side of him devoted to faith and new beginnings. This moment highlighted a recurring theme in Kiki's love life. She is 32, a single mother, a high earner, and someone whose life has always demanded responsibility, hard work, and independence. She hasn't had the space to be traditionally feminine in a way that allows a man to lead while fully sustaining her lifestyle. She's been the provider for so long, and that dynamic is deeply ingrained. Adding to the complexity, Kiki's attraction isn't limited. She's bisexual and open to a variety of partners, regardless of race or complexion. Her beauty and magnetism are undeniable, yet her drive and independence make it difficult for many men to match her pace or confidence. She wasn't created to be someone's dependent partner. She was built to excel, earn, and lead. And therein lies the tension. A woman can be incredibly accomplished, beautiful, and independent, but sustaining a relationship while maintaining that level of autonomy is no small feat. Even as a hardworking man myself, I recognize the compromise required to be in a partnership. Relationships demand concessions, sacrifices, and shared responsibility, things that aren't always easy for someone like Kiki, whose life has been defined by self-reliance and success. Just because a man has money and opportunity doesn't automatically grant him the freedom to act however he pleases. Wealth and influence come with a certain responsibility, whether we like it or not. To hold power without considering the consequences is reckless, not liberating. The privileges that come with financial or social success are paired with obligations, both moral and relational. When someone ignores that, it creates imbalance, tension, and often heartbreak. What I've noticed, though, is that when women have money and opportunity, the dynamic can feel different. Women, historically, have had to navigate constraints in almost every area of life: employment, social expectations, family obligations. So when a woman earns more than her partner, or has a level of autonomy that many men might not expect, she often uses that freedom in ways that feel justified to her. She can chart her own course, make decisions independently, and live on her terms without seeking permission. And society, for some reason, is less forgiving of this than it is when men do it. If a man steps out of line, cheats, neglects responsibilities, or refuses to contribute, he is judged harshly. If a woman does the same, particularly if she earns more than her partner, she is often celebrated for her independence, praised for her ability to do her own thing. This is where we begin to see a fundamental tension in relationships where the woman is the primary earner or otherwise independent. It creates a power imbalance that some men struggle to navigate. A man who is competitive, ambitious, and inclined to lead may find it challenging to operate in a relationship where he does not feel he can fully assert himself. Leadership, in this context, is not about control or dominance. It's about being able to contribute, to influence, to grow alongside one's partner. A man who is used to being a leader, to having influence in his own life, may feel uncomfortable being second in the hierarchy, even if it's just in terms of earnings. He may temporarily enjoy the perks of a partner's success, but once he decides to stand on his own 2 feet, the relationship can falter. This brings us to what I have termed Kiki Pomeritis. It is a phenomenon seen not just with Keke Palmer but with countless other accomplished women across industries, whether in entertainment, education, business, or entrepreneurship. These women are beautiful, intelligent, and independent. They earn their own living, often more than their male counterparts, and have been trained from an early age to carry responsibilities that exceed their peers. Their competence and self-sufficiency are remarkable, but they can inadvertently make sustained romantic relationships challenging. Keke Pomeritis manifests in a few distinct ways. First, these women are accustomed to being the provider, whether financially, emotionally, or socially. They have built their lives from the ground up, often supporting family members, funding educational pursuits, or establishing careers that require long hours and relentless dedication. This independence is admirable, yet it creates a scenario in which the woman becomes the de facto head of the partnership. Men entering these relationships may initially be drawn to her confidence, charm, and attractiveness, but when the reality of her independence sets in, some struggle to find their footing. Second, such women often cannot fully relinquish control in the way traditional partnerships might expect. Relationships require compromise, shared decision-making, negotiation, and occasionally prioritizing a partner's needs over one's own. For someone whose entire life has been structured around self-reliance and accountability, yielding control can feel unnatural, even threatening. Keke Palmer, like many women in her position, is not accustomed to taking a step back. Her world is complex, multifaceted, and, frankly, demanding. Asking her to slow down or adjust to someone else's pace is not always realistic because she is operating at a level most people simply cannot match. Third, societal perceptions of independence further complicate matters. Women like Keke are often praised for their ability to do it all, earn, lead, nurture. But this praise can mask the very real difficulty of forming sustainable relationships. The narrative that a woman can have it all may inspire many, but in practice, it sets up situations in which partners feel secondary or excluded from decision-making. Men who seek to build, grow, and lead themselves may initially align with such women, but when they attempt to assert independence or redefine the balance of the relationship, friction can arise. This tension is precisely what Keke Palmer's experience illustrates. She is independent, accomplished, and self-sufficient, qualities that have made her life extraordinary but have simultaneously made certain relationships difficult to maintain. Her career, her finances, and her responsibilities are intertwined, leaving little room for a partner to establish dominance or lead in traditional ways. Her strength, while inspiring, can be intimidating to partners who are seeking a dynamic where they feel equal or in control. It's important to note that this is not about gendered blame. It is not a critique of women for being independent, nor is it a critique of men for struggling to navigate relationships with successful women. It is a commentary on the structural realities of human relationships, where power, independence, and personal ambition intersect with romance. Relationships require negotiation, humility, and the willingness to adapt. When one party has been trained from youth to shoulder immense responsibility, those qualities can clash with the partner's expectations or insecurities. In reflecting on Keke Palmer's story, we can also draw parallels to broader patterns in society. Many high-achieving women, whether in corporate America, Hollywood, or academia, experience similar challenges. They attract partners who are initially drawn to their confidence, success, and charisma, yet sustaining those partnerships is often contingent upon finding someone who can complement, not compete with, their independence. Ambitious men, those driven to lead, build, and grow, may find it difficult to remain in a relationship where they feel their agency is limited. The result is a recurring cycle: attraction followed by friction, temporary connection followed by disillusionment. This phenomenon also speaks to the necessity of self-awareness and strategic compromise in relationships. I've spent decades observing human behavior in both personal and professional contexts, and one lesson has become clear: power, whether financial, social, or intellectual, must be balanced with restraint. Even most accomplished individuals cannot operate entirely unchecked if they wish to maintain long-term partnerships. The best leaders, whether in business, family, or society, understand that influence must be wielded judiciously. Overreach leads to pushback, resentment, and eventual loss. Keke Palmer's narrative exemplifies this principle. Furthermore, the dynamic of independence intersects with age and life experience. At 32, Keke Palmer is navigating the challenges of combining her career, motherhood, and personal life. She has spent decades cultivating a world in which she is central, the provider, the organizer, the stabilizer. But relationships require mutuality. They require that each person sometimes adjust, step back, and yield. This is a learned skill, and for women who have spent their lives as self-sufficient leaders, it is not always intuitive. As time progresses, the stakes evolve. A partner who has maintained consistency, self-discipline, and resilience can rebound and thrive, even after a breakup. Meanwhile, a high-achieving woman who is not accustomed to compromise may find that sustaining long-term romantic relationships becomes increasingly challenging. This is not a matter of fairness, but of structural reality. The world rewards independence, competence, and self-sufficiency in women, yet the social contract of romance often expects flexibility, adaptability, and relational compromise. Balancing these forces is rarely easy. Keke Palmer's story is, in many ways, a case study for this balance. She embodies the modern, ambitious woman, beautiful, talented, independent, and resilient. Yet her independence, which is her greatest strength, also shapes the dynamics of her romantic relationships. She can attract partners, she can inspire admiration and desire, but the challenge lies in sustaining those partnerships over time. Relationships demand more than attraction. They demand negotiation, sacrifice, and sometimes subordination of personal convenience. This is true for men and women alike, but for women like Keke, who have been conditioned to lead, earn, and excel from a young age, it can be particularly complex. Finally, this discussion raises important reflections about gender, power, and expectations in contemporary society. Modern women have unprecedented opportunities for independence, achievement, and self-expression. Yet, these very qualities can complicate intimate relationships because human desires for leadership, autonomy, and recognition do not always align neatly with ambition and self-sufficiency. Understanding these dynamics requires empathy, insight, and strategic reflection. Keke Palmer's journey illustrates both the empowerment of independence and the relational challenges that come with it, providing lessons not just for her peers, but for anyone navigating love, power, and partnership in the 21st century. In the end, the lesson is universal. Relationships are a negotiation of power, independence, and mutual respect. Even the most accomplished, independent, and brilliant individuals must find ways to compromise, adapt, and communicate. Kiki Pomeritis, as I call it, is not a flaw but a reflection of the tension between success and intimacy. A reminder that even those who can do everything on their own must sometimes find harmony with another human being to sustain lasting love. At 32, Keke is navigating these challenges, but think about what happens as time goes on. At 42 or 52, if a man she once left has kept himself together, he can rebound, and sometimes he will. And that's exactly what has happened in this case. A man she moved on from has managed to rebuild, regain stability, and achieve what he wants. The lingering question, will Keke be able to do the same when the timing shifts? That's the reality of power, independence, and love in the modern world. Balancing ambition with partnership is never simple, no matter how strong or talented you are. Alright, that's it from me. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll catch you next time.